Hi, I'm Mariah Shimatsu, the owner of Movement First Wellness. I'm here today to show you guys some great lower body strength moves that you can use as dental professionals to help improve your posture and ergonomics while at the chair. So let's get started. So our first move is going to be a hamstring bridge. So you're going to come onto the mat, you're going to slide those shoulder blades down underneath your spine, feet are underneath your knees, and you're going to find that neutral pelvis by maybe untucking and tucking a few times until you meet in the middle at neutral. From here, you're going to drive from your heels, pressing your hips up off the floor into as far extension as possible while squeezing into the glutes and the hamstrings. You're going to release, lower down until your butt taps the floor, and then again, squeeze, extending towards the ceiling. So this is such a great move because it not only strengthens the hamstrings and the glutes, but it also helps stretch out the front fascial line of our quads, our abdominals, and our hip flexors. So you're going to perform anywhere between 15 to 20 reps, just moving at a slow pace up and down, squeezing into those glutes, driving from your heels to press. And to make this harder, you could take a weight and place it across your hips to add some extra weight. Our next lower body strength move is going to be a deadlift. So I know for a lot of dental professionals, you don't like lifting heavy weights because you don't want to fatigue your hands and your forearms before holding instruments and performing surgeries all day. So here's another tip. You can use an exercise band and you can place this underneath your feet. So it could be one that's a loop like mine or just one that has handles on it and you're holding the handles here. But you're going to hold on to that and you're going to perform your deadlift. So you're going to hinge from your hips, driving your hips backwards, keeping your spine nice and flat, which also includes the cervical spine. So remember not to look up here. We're actually looking down so our spine is one long unit, and reach towards your toes. And then drive from the balls of your feet up as you gently squeeze your hips, careful not to drive into hyperextension, just to neutral, and strengthen those hamstrings. So again, shift the hips back, neutral, including cervical spine, and then extend to standing, squeezing those glutes gently. So again, you're going to do anywhere from 10 to 15 reps. I also love the deadlift because this also applies some tension through your upper back, forcing you to hold that in a nice, good position and not letting yourself round through the thoracic spine. So it's kind of a combo move. So that was demonstrating with the band. I'm also going to show you what it would look like with dumbbells. So if you have dumbbells and you don't mind holding them in your hands and fatiguing your hands a little bit, which by the way will strengthen them, you're going to hold here, deadlift, so reaching the dumbbells down towards mid-shin, shifting the hips back, spine is neutral and long, come up, drive through the balls of your feet and squeeze. Like I mentioned with the upper back, you want to make sure you're holding your shoulder blades back, kind of squeezing, not letting yourself round, so that's improper. Reach and up. Your weights are going to slide down your legs, keeping them fairly close to your legs as you reach down. Again, perform anywhere between 10 to 15 reps. A great exercise to work the lower body is lunges. I like to do step back lunges because they're a little more friendly to the knee joint than stepping forward. So let's look at that. When we step into a lunge, we want to step back and then be able to drop down. And so by stepping back, our momentum is already being carried back rather than stepping forward where we have this tendency to try to push forward rather than drop down. So we're going to do step back lunges. We're going to keep our shoulders stacked over our hips so our spine is nice and long, helping to lengthen this back hip flexor. And then you're going to drop down so your knee's about an inch off the ground. I'm going to go ahead and have you do pulsing lunges. We're going to just stay in this position so we can work on the control of the movement. And we're just going to drop down and up for 15 reps per leg. So the weight is going to stay in that forward leg in the heel as your body comes towards the ground, pulsing in and out of that lunge. Like I mentioned before, lunges are fantastic, and our next exercise is a lateral lunge. So we're going to step out, keeping our toes facing forward. We're going to sit the hips back, reaching them towards the wall, keeping that weight in the heel of this bending leg, and then step back together. So step out, reaching into this outside hip and back. We want to try to bring our hip out so that it's parallel to our foot, and try not to let that knee dive too forward over the toes. It will slightly just because that's the movement. But if you have pain in the knee, really focus on sitting the hips back, chest is still elevated. You're going to do 10 one direction and then 10 the other. A fantastic exercise to add into your routine is going to be squats. And I love doing squats with different arm variations and reaches. Why? Because the back superficial line of our body tends to be very weak by nature because we spend a lot of time seated and flexed forward, whether it be driving, at work, watching TV, whatever it is. And so our superficial front line tends to be really tight, while our superficial back line tends to be really weak. Now remember, the weak muscles are the ones that usually talk to you and create a lot of pain and let you know they're there and they need work. However, if you only focus on those muscles that are talking to you and you don't focus on loosening up the muscles that are maybe actually causing the problem and being tight, you've only got part of the equation. So squatting with arm variations kind of helps out with both areas. You're going to start with your feet a little bit outside hip distance apart. You're going to sit your hips back into your squat, and then you're going to come up and extend and reach behind you like you're reaching for something. So this is going to help open up this front line of fascial muscle tissue, and the squat is going to help strengthen up the back line. So you're going to alternate that reach, dropping down into your squat, reach back, kind of opening the chest and the shoulders. Let your head follow those hands, because where your head goes, your body will follow. And you'll get a little bit deeper twist. And I don't know, do maybe about 5 reaches each side. And then we're going to add a different arm reach. So again, you're doing your squat. This time we're going to reach up and over, kind of laterally flexing through the spine. Back down, squat, opposite side. Make sure we're driving this hip out. Although this is a lateral movement, it's still going to help to open up the superficial front line of our body, as well as the lateral line. So our body is actually lots of long lines of fascia connecting muscle tissue together. So if we only work the muscles in an isometric manner, isolated manner, so like example bicep curls, rather than a bicep curl to a pull and reach, we've only again got part of the equation. So we need to really think about these movements that can connect our body from lower to upper, rotational and lateral, and get as much of our body involved in working out as possible.